All right, and we are live. So welcome to the Sarcasm and Liberty live stream, everyone. This one's kind of a special one I wasn't planning on doing, but after a certain someone got banned yet again on Twitter, I kind of felt like I wanted to have this discussion, and I really want to thank Twitter side for joining us. So I also got, Pat, he's returned. He's actually hasn't been on, well, at least none of the streams that I've done for a while. And then we have a newcomer to the Sarcasm and Liberty live stream, Eric. So what I'm going to do first is, Pat, are you, I don't think are you still there, Pat?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Okay. Pat, I'll start with you. If you want to, kind of introduce yourself for those of you who might not have seen you yet.
Sure. My name is Patrick Sullivan. I'm on Twitter mainly. I do a little bit of writing for a collegiate outlet called Lone Conservative, but I'm not conservative. I'm not. I don't consider myself affiliated with any political group. I'm kind of just very pragmatic and everything. And yeah, just witty takes and shit posting all day.
Lice. All right. Eric, then let's have you introduce yourself, especially, we brought you into the live stream group on Twitter, so I'm hoping we'll be able to get you into some more of the live streams too. So, we'll let the audience get to know you.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually just got a whole new computer set up and headphones and everything in the last couple of months, so I'm
Perfect.
able to do some stuff, which is great. My name is Eric Laprice. I'm a 31-year-old hardcore Black Flag anarchist. Hard stop, no hyphens. Yeah, homeschooled all the way through. No public school ever. So if you've got questions about homeschooling and what that looks like on the back end, I can answer a lot of those questions. And and I'm a Scotch drinker. So cheers.
Awesome. Well, and I would say too, actually, because we usually have a pretty good mix of people in here. Having you on the stream, I think, is gonna, and especially future streams when we get into a lot of the politics stuff, is gonna help add another layer to debates and stuff like that. I think it'll be really great for discussions.
Yeah, I know. I put my hand up for Monday night stream for something. I don't remember.
Oh, we're talking, taxation.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I got those two polls, and we're going to be talking about the. Okay, and just to I'm gonna plug that Monday stream, and then I'm gonna turn it over to you, Twitter side, so you can give your introduction, because that's gonna kind of kick off the actual stream. But the polls we have going on right now on the Twitter is, the first one I did was, if you could pick one of these forms of taxation to get rid of, if you could only pick one to get rid of right now, which one would it be? And the options were income, property, sales, and estate/gift tax. So then somebody had brought up, the idea of doing the inverse. So I was like, yeah, that's a good idea. So I did the other one of the same options of, if you could get rid of all, but you had to keep one, which kind of getting this idea of which out of these four taxations, which do people feel like is the worst, and which do people feel like is the least invasive or offensive one. And, then I think that's going to make for a great discussion in itself, but it has fostered so much discussion and debate on the polls. So now, we have a ton of different arguments, points of views, and all this different stuff we're going to be able to just pour over and talk about. So I think it's going to be an amazing stream. We're going to be doing it Monday night at 9 p.m., same time as tonight. And like Eric said, he's going to join to that one. I'm not entirely sure who all for sure yet is coming on else. I'm not sure if Mike Ginger Liberty will be on or not, and maybe Tim. Hopefully we'll get a good panel for that one, but I think it's going to be a great topic. So now I'm going to let Twitter side go ahead and introduce herself, and then we'll kind of let her go into what brought us all together here tonight.
Okay, so people know me best as Twitter side, I guess, was my original handle, and then it was Twitter side is back, then it was Twitter side lives, and now it is Twitter side reboot. I'm sorry. But the first one, I think I was suspended because I spoke up on behalf of a friend who made a joke about do fat people know they can lose weight? And I basically made fun of them because everyone got really bent out of shape over how could she say that? That's really mean. I was just like, it's a joke. You can block if you don't like. And then people started reporting me. Then another one, I came back, and I don't even know why I was suspended on that one. And the recent one I was suspended on was because I said Beyonce's music is trash. And apparently I was suspended because I incited racial tension was what I was. I apparently not liking somebody's music and they happen to be black. That automatically means you're racist. And
like you have to like black people's music or you hate all black people. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Sense.
So, yeah.
The craziest part about that is you have to like specific black people's music.
Yeah.
Not like, oh, you have to like all quote unquote black music. You have
but
to.
But if I didn't like Kanye, it'd be fine.
No, nobody.
Point, he's burned every bridge in the black community.
Yeah,
that dude is off the plantation. Nobody's
getting banned for not liking Eric July's music,
No,
because so it's that's showing the very obvious bias that Twitter has. I mean, there just kind of seems like they're looking for an excuse to ban somebody, and it's insane. So, what the most recent one that was like, when was that like? It was just a couple days ago, right?
Yeah, it was the whole NPC meme controversy.
Is that what got you banned?
Me, I was not banned. No.
No. Twitter side, because this last one, you weren't entirely sure. Like you had some theories.
No, I got back. I was accused of hate speech.
So they actually said the Beyonce.
Yeah, I think I tweeted out, but that one was suspended. See, because then there was so much evidence that I had because I screenshotted everything from my appeal, the appeal email. I screenshotted that. I even tweeted it out. I tweeted out what they told me I was suspended for. I tweeted out where I had, and I don't normally report accounts except if they're like pedophiles and stuff of that nature, or actually inciting some kind of violence on somebody, like threats. So I just reported him because I wanted to see if anything would happen to the guy that was attacking me continuously. Nothing happened to him. So I tweeted that screenshot out too. I screenshotted all the attacks that I was getting as a white woman. I was called Becky. It's called Mayo. I had no eyebrows. It was insane, but he got nothing. They told me he didn't violate terms of service at all.
No, there was I got a suspension one time because this guy was saying things like about like he was essentially saying people should rape children, and I called him out on it, and then I got banned and nothing happened to him. Yeah, I got a suspension for a week for calling out somebody, promoting the rape of children, and nothing happened to that guy. And it was,
B-pigs, man.
and like. It was actually funny because, what was it you said? Twitter side, like Jack's got a hard on for you, and I was like, that can't be true. You're not an underage girl. It just seems like I don't know what it is. Just seems like he's all totally fine with like pedophilia on his thing, like on his whole platform, and then the people that are actually bringing light to, like, shining a light on this issue, are the ones getting in trouble, not the people.
I think my joke too was something like my Avies cause Jack to masturbate so much that he doesn't get any work done, so he just keeps banning me so that my Avies go away.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's bureaucracy, right? Like it's not Jack per se, right? Jack personifies the like Twitter bureaucrat, and the bureaucracy is going to protect its own, and the hardcore leftist pedophiles don't threaten Twitter's political standing in any way, shape, or form. The reality is, you look at, like, I can't believe Gab is still allowed to be on Twitter, right? They're the direct competitor, and they're constantly bad-mouthing Twitter, and they're still on Twitter. But I can't imagine. There's two reasons I can think of why they're not banned. The first one is, why give them the platform to go, oh, blah, blah, we're banned. The second one is banning them, like they might have the resources to actually sue you and get something accomplished versus some little libertarian account with, 5,000 followers not that not that that's tiny or anything, but it's small enough to be
in the great scheme of things. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So let me ask you guys, are they private companies or not? Because it matters. If you're going to argue about whether or not they should be allowed to ban people, that matters. Are they private or not?
I think that's an interesting point, actually, because I think that's a very good thing to bring up. Is like there's this, especially on Twitter, like where they're saying Trump is not allowed to block people. I
thought that too.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, like you're starting like the government's trying to make, this a free speech issue. So I'm like, okay, if you're going to push it towards that route, aren't you kind of saying that Twitter's not allowed to ban people? In a way, like I feel like they're, they haven't said that, or like, I don't think you can technically make that argument yet, but I feel like they're moving towards it. Like what some of the left is trying to do is going to accidentally push it into that territory.
I like to akin places like Twitter to like the Wild West, where basically you're in charge of your own security. That being said, you can't just like, well, you can just in the Wild West you could just go out and shoot somebody, but you should expect bullets to fly back at you.
Yeah.
If Twitter takes action, then Ben Shapiro has a really good legal analysis on this. It's if Twitter decides what's good to post and what's not good to post, if they define their own hate speech on their platform, they become publishers, and legally they're now liable for everything posted on their website. So I think it's important to differentiate whether they are publishers or whether they're just a platform.
So before we do that, I still want to get an answer. Yes or no,
I would
public
say
or private?
From what we have right now, they're private.
Or some sort of fascist, corporate fascist mix. I'll accept that as
I would say that they're private still. Like they definitely have the right to. And my thing is, I can admit, I don't have any legal standing to say they shouldn't be able to ban me. But it's more, I guess, like for one, from a business standpoint, I think it's pretty ridiculous to constantly ban the people who you want to come and use your website. And then also, it's just the dishonesty that really bothers me. If they were just very upfront of, we don't like libertarians, so we're going to try to prevent them from being on our platform, I'd be like, oh, well, I guess at least they're being honest about it. It's this kind of like they're constantly trying to be like, oh no, all viewpoints are welcome, and then they start like you start seeing all these examples of very heavy bias. That's the part I get really annoyed with.
Well, I think they should be able to ban people, but my main problem is they kind of make it out to be that they are free speech. I mean, as far as I know, that's kind of how they presented their app. Yep. And then, so, I mean, at the very least, I think it's violation of what the contract was supposed to be, because they're not actually endorsing free speech when they claim, but now they're backpedaling, of course.
Yeah, it's kind of like a false advertising thing of like, yes, everybody's welcome, all viewpoints are welcome, and then you start kind of coming on, like you can be very non-offensive and still get, start getting banned, and then like you're just left with this confusion of like, you start to feel like you're being targeted for like, wrong think, like you're not agreeing with this person who has the ability to ban you, so therefore they're just going to get rid of you.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people seem to target certain accounts if they don't like them, especially if you get on Black Twitter. I didn't even know it was a thing, but apparently what they like to do is, and not all Black people, that's not what I'm saying, but what they like to do is they're like, oh, well, she doesn't agree with us and she's white. How dare she have that mindset? So we're just going to get a bunch of people to report her and get her shut down.
Yeah. And that happens a lot. A lot of people, like, they'll gang up on a specific tweet that they don't like and kind of mass report.
I would agree with the analysis that Twitter is still considered a private company. I think that the system is broken in that there's attached to every account, and this is obviously for originally marketing purposes, but attached to every account is it's like a list of preferences that you can access it, but it takes a few steps to get there. But it's basically it's called inferred interest from Twitter. And what it is it goes through your tweets and it kind of puts you into these groups. So I'm in like 40 or so groups, and some of them are inherently political. And what happens is you'll start seeing more and more tweets from those groups, but you'll also be included into these groups. So what that does is it forces your account into a bubble naturally, because you won't see other tweets outside of it. And it creates these little ecosystems where if it's attacked, like if an ecosystem is attacked, it's going to gang up on whoever's attacking it. I think that's one of the big problems. And this thing is like, it's a feature you can't turn off. And even if you uncheck the interests, which you're able to do, but even if you uncheck them after a few days, they'll just become checked again. So you constantly have to just be going through, unchecking everything that's political. And that's also one of the ways to avoid the shadow ban is to not affiliate yourself with anything that can be construed as conservative or even just political wrong thing.
There's this thing too, is I know they talked about like factors for like banning, like one of them is, or like getting your account deleted is like, you know, if you've been blocked like an excessive number of times by people. I'm like, well, that's kind of ridiculous when you have people on the left who like literally just, they have these lists, you know, they just block everybody associated with one person. And I was like, well, that's not really fair. I mean, I can't count how many times I've been blocked by somebody I've never even met or had zero interaction with, you know, like that happens all the time.
It's the greatest.
Yeah.
That is the greatest thing ever. I've cleared 200 followers yesterday, and I've been blocked by people that I like literally have no idea who they are, never had any interaction with, like nothing.
And you see you're blocked.
Oh yeah, it's awesome. It's like, oh yeah. Little old me, like nobody, private person with 200 followers is already blocked by like 35 people for no reason because I follow, you know, Stefan Molyneux, who has like all kinds of problems, but I find him not fascinating, but I like mocking him because I can't stand the guy mostly.
Yeah.
And so like, yeah, I hate follow him. And because I follow Stefan, like that gives me that gives you a reason to block me. Oh, big scary me, like whoop-de-doo.
I mean,
it's hilarious.
Me, I follow both Trump and Hillary on Twitter because I like to see what ridiculous shit they're saying. Because it's hilarious to me. It's entertaining. I'll log in and be like, wow, that's fucking crazy. You know, and like I like just to see what nonsense they're spewing out. And so I follow them. So it shows up in my feed. And doesn't mean I like either of them, you know. It's kind of ridiculous. Like just because you're following a person or just because you even retweet a person doesn't mean you agree with the person. Like the fact that people have to put it in their bios.
I refuse. I will not debase myself to explain to people who do not understand that retweets do not equal, get bent. There is no way. There is no way I will debase myself to anyone who cannot understand that. You are too dumb. Go away. Please do me a favor. Go away.
Yeah. It's insane. Like that people, it's sad that people have feel it gets to the point where somebody feels the need they have to explain that. It's like I'm never going to put it in my bio because I'm like, if you're crazy enough to really believe that, and typically anything I retweet, I tag, like if it's something I don't agree with, I tag on my own opinion. So I would hope that nobody does get that confused. But
by the way, if I retweet something and you think, well, what the fuck? It's usually because I want you. I'm trying to start an argument. That's the whole point.
Yes.
I'm trying to get you to come fight me because if I'm on Twitter to fight people, that's the only reason to be there. If it wasn't for, hey, let's have a fight, why bother? Otherwise, we can go hang out and be nice on Instagram where it's nice and lovey-dovey all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Twitter's for fighting. That's the idea. It's to fight strangers. As my friend, as Skip, at the Free Rifleman likes to say, it's for putting commies and wood chippers. That's the idea.
It's Fight Club.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's for sharpening your arguments and fighting people. I mean, I fight my friends on Twitter regularly.
Mm-hmm.
Dorkburger and I go back and forth. Justin and I go back and forth constantly, and we agree on almost everything. But once in a while, like today, Thomas Massey posted something, and I was like, Jesus, if I didn't think politics was a total waste of fucking time, it would, I would like Thomas Massey. I really would. He's doing good work for what he's doing. I think it's a total waste. But he's doing good work. And Justin doesn't agree. He thinks, he's basically an anarchist like me, no hyphens, kind of post-left anarchy. And he thinks that politics isn't a complete waste of time and that somebody doing something, whatever they can do, is a good thing. And I think I would rather you stop participating. Stop participating, stop funding them, do whatever you can to avoid paying taxes, do whatever you can to stay away from the empire, and you'll do more good than Thomas Massey ever will with some bill that he's written but hasn't introduced to the House. That sounds great. He was talking about removing the marijuana question from the ATF's 4473, the background check for buying firearms, which is great. If they could actually pull that off, it's fantastic. But he said, I've written it, but I haven't submitted it even to it hasn't even made committee yet. It hasn't become a thing. And he's looking for a Democratic co-sponsor, which is a legitimate use for Twitter. I will say, if you're a congressman and you're looking for somebody to co-sponsor a bill, Twitter's a great place to say, hey, I've got this bill. It's already ready to go. Is there anybody on the other side of the aisle that's willing to co-sponsor this thing with me? Fine. And it's if you can get it done, I will be happy that it's done. But I think it's a complete waste of time. Literally, stop filling out 4473s, build your own guns, buy from private sellers, don't participate. It's agorism is a real thing. It's not that complicated. Stop participating. And I feel the same way about Facebook, for instance, right? Facebook is all the way in bed with the federal government. They're their biggest client. They send all of the data to there. So I don't participate. I'm on Instagram, this much. I haven't posted in months. It's for sharing pictures of people with family. That's the only thing I ever use it for. And I've been off of Facebook for 5 years. I have an account. Occasionally my mom will send me a picture of something. I'll look at it and comment, but that's as far as it goes. Fuck Facebook and especially Google. They're completely in bed with the deep state. They're completely in bed with the intelligence community, whatever you want to call them. They're not private anymore. If the federal government is your biggest client, they spend you more money than anybody else, you're not private. Now, I don't know for a fact that Twitter has that problem of the government being their biggest, client.
Yeah, I have no idea there.
But they take a ton of money for political advertisements, and they take a ton of money for So it's okay, we live in a corporal fascist empire. It's not really when you get to that scale, it's not private. Doing business with me, I'm a general contractor by trade, handyman, fix your house. Doing business with me is private. You can pay me in Bitcoin for all I care, or silver, or whatever the hell you want to trade. Let's talk. I'm in Austin, Texas. If you need work done, hit me up. I'm on Twitter. It's my name. It's not hard to find. I'm all over the place. And that's private. But when you get to the multi-billion-dollar scale, that's not private anymore. And so,
so I want to just to this is kind of you going back to the question you asked us earlier. Then, would you consider it private or public?
First principles. It matters. If it's private, okay, yeah, they have every right to ban anybody they want to. Period. End of discussion. No questions asked. They don't have to have a reason. You're not paying them either. So that's the other piece of it. Yeah, you have a terms of use, right? You have you sort of have a contract, but the first paragraph of that contract says we can change this at any time for any reason, no matter what we want to do. Doesn't matter. Have a nice day. And by the way, nobody reads the damn things, and they don't stand up in court, and everybody knows it. So, you got to have it if you're a company that big to say, we kind of sort of have a reason so you don't get sued by big people who can actually sue you. But if you're if you're not making $1 million a year online, as a media presence, right? If you're not Jordan Peterson, Stephen Molyneux, Joe Rogan, if you're not one of those guys, you're not going to sue them and win. It's not going to happen. So, okay, if you're not going to sue them and win, and they're not private, fuck them. You're permanently banned. Don't create a new account. Cool. Watch my VPN. See what happens. I'm going to create every new account I want to, and I'm going to log in all over the place. And by the way, my ID is whatever I want it to be. So sorry for you. Right.
Yeah.
And that's where I come obviously, I get in trouble a lot because black flag, straight black flag, no black and gold, no ANCAP. The Austrians are great on economics. Don't get me wrong. No state, period. I'm SEK3 and post-Marx leftist anarchism straight up. No questions asked yet. And like Scott Horton likes to say, like, don't ask hardcore commies like where prices come from or you have problems, otherwise they're great. That's where I come down on. I'm free market all the way, like hardcore, like not super hardcore Austrian, but yeah, the Austrians are right. Like, leave it at that. So I get in trouble all the time because I'm a crazy radical, like super fringe, like nobody thinks the way I do, or very few people. And so, yeah, if we're not going to start with, hey, they're not private, they're some level of public-private partnership, quote unquote, you know, BS, then okay, then the state has a legitimate argument to say, hey, we pay you, we say you can't block people. And it's a different argument than the Trump argument where it says, hey, the president of the United States is a public figure, he can't block people.
Yeah.
That's different than saying, hey, Twitter, you're a public utility, you can't block people.
Yeah, because
those are two different questions.
Yeah, I was going to say, like it's moving towards, people are already, I've seen people making the argument that things like Twitter are becoming more of like a public utility, where like having those, you know, they're kind of like, certain things that they're doing are kind of making them lose their ability to have like the right to ban people from their platform.
Right, and that comes back to Pat's, like, Ben Shapiro argument about are they publishers or not, because publishers can be held liable for the works that they produce.
Yeah,
that's the legal argument, is if you're a publisher, if you're picking and choosing, if you're editorializing content, you are now a publisher and not a platform. I think that argument's bullshit. I don't care. Like, I don't think publishers should be held responsible whether they're editorializing or not. Meanwhile, I understand where it comes from. And if that's the stick that the conservatives that are getting blocked want to use to beat public-private partnerships like Twitter, fine. And if they're successful with it, more power to them. I don't see the point obviously, I don't see the point of getting in bed with the state to fix a private problem, right?
Yeah. And that's my thing too, is like, for me, I'm like, I don't like the idea of using, because I don't like the idea of using the state to try to fix things like that, because I don't know, I feel like it's grossly like an abuse of, like, you use it, I don't know, it's just misusing that, like, oh, Twitter banned me and I don't like that, so I'm going to try to use the state to make it illegal for them to ban me. I'm like, I'd rather not cross that line, you know, like, I don't know. I hate using the state to like force a company or something like that to behave a certain way.
So let me ask you this then. Do like the wealthy people who have the ability to like hire lawyers and actually stand a chance against the government have an obligation to go against, like, keep the government in check legally?
That's a good question.
Obligation? No.
Yeah. Okay.
No, they don't have an obligation to use their money. Like, you have no right to tell them what they can and can't do with their money, or what they should and shouldn't do with their money. So no, they have no obligation. Now, do they theoretically have a responsibility?
Exactly. Yeah, responsibility is a better word. Yeah.
Maybe. My argument would be like, hey, you've made all your money on these platforms. Your audience is on these platforms. If you lose them, you're super screwed. It's probably in your best interest to actually do something about it.
Mm-hmm. Like, if you have the voice and the power to do something like that, and the platform that's giving you that voice and that power is slowly killing off your audience,
nut the fuck up and say something about it.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, I mean, and whether that means, hey, I'm going to go sue them, or hey, I'm going to go build my own thing. And by the way, Gab sucks shit because they can't get on iTunes, and like I can't put them on my phone, and they don't have an app, and their online like their UI sucks. So fix your Gab if you're listening. Fix your UI, and I'll gladly go over there because there's a big crew of people over there on Android that I'm friends with that are over there. I can't make it work. So fix your UI, and I'll move.
Then, like, and I would say, asking each one of you, I'll start with you, Eric, and then we'll go down the line. If today, Annoyed Manarchist just joined us. How's it going, Otter?
Good.
All right. So what I'm about to do now is, and I'll get you in on this with the same question is, say, like, just given the level of knowledge you have across, like, the alternative social media sites popping up, without any further research, say, you decided you wanted, like, Twitter just became not worth it for you anymore. Where would you, what one, like, Minds, Gab, or whatever, like, I don't know, there's some other ones. Where would you go next? Like, what would be your first choice of where you would attempt to go next if you just, like, couldn't deal with Twitter anymore? So, Eric, I'll start with you, and then we'll kind of go down the line.
So right now, I have Minds. I have a Gab account.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hearing things about Mastodon, but I haven't bothered. I mean, the reality is, I'm such small potatoes. There's no reason for me to leave Twitter, unless everybody else leaves, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a big enough community on Twitter that's very active that I stay very involved with. I'm on it like all day, every day. And if I don't, if I leave, I'm shooting myself in the foot. So if I'm forced to leave, like, hey, everybody, all the collapsitarians, all the Black Flag anarchists are all going somewhere else. I'm like, cool, let's go wherever everybody else is going. And we've had this conversation and we can't come to a consensus because everybody else's UI sucks and nobody else has got the, like, I mean, Twitter's got a 10-year jump on everybody else and billions of dollars of investment. And the audience and the community, like, the people are already there. So Minds right now, Minds is the only thing that even remotely comes close to working, but it's too much like Facebook. It's not Twitter. It doesn't work the same way. And I hate Facebook. I've always hated Facebook. It's fucking awful. Yeah. And not just because of their political standing and their involvement with the government. Regardless of all that, the interface sucks. I hate the way it works. I don't like the posting. I don't like you've got to post I like Twitter. It's clean. I can add pictures if I want to, but I don't have to, and it works better without them. Other than memes, obviously. Meme war veteran. Hey, whatever. But yeah, I mean, Minds is the only even remotely legitimate. Like, it's the only thing even close, and it sucks. So, what do you? I mean, seriously, what are you gonna do?
Yeah. Okay. Like, I would say me personally, I know nothing about any. Like, I'm on, like, Twitter mostly because it's there and convenient for me. I got to learn more about some of these other sites.
Well, and it's super lightweight and easy, right?
Yeah. So Twitter side, like, for you, having been banned multiple times from Twitter, I don't know if you have some accounts set up on some different places.
Well, yeah, I had, like Eric said, Facebook sucks. I don't have a Facebook anymore. It's just, it's the same shit all the time. It's just people talking about their kids or, like, their marriage.
It's my parents' boomer friends talking politics. It's awful.
It's fucking horrendous. It's just awful.
Yeah.
So I don't do Facebook. I am on Minds. I am on Gab. You can get a Gab app, but you have to download it and I've talked directly to Gab themselves, and it was because they were banned from the Play Store for hate speech. So they,
seriously?
Yes, 2 separate times they told me. And of course I can't pull up that message because that was from my old account.
It's the Gab is for Nazis meme. Because the alt-right guys and the like, Andrew Anglin was one of their big, like, supporters right away because he'd been banned from everything else. And if you guys don't know, Andrew Anglin is, like, the guy that runs Daily Stormer. Like, he's a out-and-out Nazi. Like, the guy's a legit Nazi. By the way, free speech absolutism, like, he gets to talk. He's a fucking moron.
Oh, yeah.
He gets to talk.
And I say, let the idiots talk.
That's right. Yeah.
And unveil how stupid they are themselves. Like,
exactly.
By the way,
I'm like, hey,
Andrew's not a dumb guy. He's a moron for being an out-and-out Nazi, but he's not stupid. And and honestly, because he's a Nazi, right, he's really good on free speech. And so when Gab came along and said, hey, we're free speech absolutists, period, he jumped right. He went straight there. And the problem is he brought his entire moron Nazi clan.
That's what I've heard. Yeah.
And so, a huge percentage of the population at Gab was Nazis right away. And so, they got banned from a bunch of stuff because they got flagged all over the place because they were a bunch of Nazis.
Well, see, that's why I would go over to Gab. Not only are they, well, no, it sounds horrible, right? Like that.
No, it's a good point.
No, it's great. No, it's perfect.
Well, I'm not listening to this now. I'm a Nazi now, but
yeah,
that's why free speech exists. It's not, you don't need to argue free speech for somebody who says nice shit, right? Like that doesn't, it's not needed for that. And plus, I mean, Gab trolls Twitter on fucking Twitter.
Yes,
exactly.
Yes. Like that's why I would go over there. And I admit I don't really like how theirs is set up. It's hard to use. It doesn't really make any sense. I think they should change it. Another thing I was looking at is finding somebody that knows how to do it, and I would be the spokesperson for it. But like start my own app.
Yeah.
Just being the same way, but I'd probably get a lot of Nazis too. But
probably,
like Eric said, they have the right to speak, and I'm sorry, but they should have a right to speak because you can't counter anybody's argument if it's not allowed to be said.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I just look at it and go, okay, so it's the same argument that like Rothbardians use against the Civil Rights Act, right? Yet you want to know the guy who hates you, so you don't do business with his ass. So forced integration is horseshit. By the way, you want to know if somebody's a fucking Nazi, like Weave and Andrew Anglin, who like have swastika, like they are out and out, no bones about it, Nazis.
Yeah.
Right,
but unfortunately, the sorry, go ahead.
Oh, okay. All right, you know what? Shut up and I'll finish.
Yeah.
But it's see, now all that back and forth. I forgot what the hell I was going to say. But you can't, it's the same thing with Alex Jones, right? Like I don't personally like Alex Jones. I think he's really nutty. He's big on conspiracy theories. I don't really get into that. But if you shut down somebody who's like, oh, everybody's out to get me and they're trying to silence me, and then guess what? You silence them. What does that do? That kind of
made him a martyr.
Right. And then he's like, oh, see, I was right. And then his fans are like, holy shit. And then they start this underground cult and then they do fucked up shit. And no one knows what they're doing because they've been silenced. I'd rather the nut jobs be out in the open. So we're like, holy shit, this is what they're doing.
Otter, you have something to add?
On what I would use, Eric pretty much covered everything I was going to say on that. I've got a Minds and Gab, but I don't do a lot. And like Twitter site said, they're not the easiest thing to use compared to Twitter. I mean, I'll give Twitter that. But my thoughts on hate speech and bad ideas, et cetera, et cetera. Bad ideas are sort of like, this is going to be a terrible example, but it's like bacteria. They need to be exposed to sunlight to either sterilize them and prove them out.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, or they withstand scrutiny, and you might see that they're not such a bad idea. And I agree completely on the you want to know who the hateful people are versus shoving them underground and making them serve everyone. The argument against that is, well, what if they have enough customers to survive that? Okay, well, you have to live with the fact that they had those ideas before they were forced to serve everyone. They have enough supporters to survive after removing that act that government forced.
Yeah.
And their customers are a bunch of hateful bigots too.
Like you can be like, oh, these people willfully go into this store, the store's gonna get a reputation, and I like one of I know the whole like bake the cake thing is one of the things I've always said is like, Jesus. Why would you want to force somebody who doesn't agree with your marriage to bake your cake? Like, it just seems really weird.
Use it as a stick.
Yes. Yep. So, Michael, you just joined. Like, I don't know if like you say if you were going to leave Twitter, like, do you have some other place in mind that you would jump into? Do you know anything about the other platforms out there?
I mean, not really, but whenever something like that happens, it's always kind of in that moment, like you jump to whatever's hot. Like I remember what's it called? MySpace was
Yeah.
big. Before that, I even had this thing called LiveJournal, which was pretty big, like when internet was first starting out.
Yeah.
MySpace. Tom, why did we forsake you?
Yeah. But I think where Facebook, because I'm a big fan of Facebook. I know a lot of people here aren't big on Facebook, and for good reasons. But the functions like the groups and the pages really set Facebook apart.
There are some good functions on Facebook. Like I do wish Twitter had some things for like groups and stuff that made it a little bit easier to organize, like especially like communities on
I will
Twitter.
say,
like,
Minds has done that almost exactly the right way.
Yeah.
So, like, if you really hate Facebook and you need enough people to go over to Minds, they've got the group function the way Facebook does. They can actually that actually works on Minds.
Have you guys talked about how Facebook is now treating Minds links like they're unsecure or bad sites, and ask you, give you redirects and ask you if you really want to go there?
Yeah, of course.
Seriously?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Of course that was coming. It's the same argument as why the hell is Gab still on Twitter? And the only reason they're still on Twitter, as far as I can tell, is because either Twitter doesn't want to give them the publicity or they don't want to get sued. Facebook, on the other hand, is big enough that they don't give a shit about getting sued or giving somebody else the publicity. They need to kill their competition quick, and Minds is the only legitimate competition on the horizon.
They say that they can still go to that link, but they'll give you all kinds of flags about it, saying, "Are you really sure you want to go to this awful site and do all kinds of awful things to your computer, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera?"
Right, but think about what that does. Everybody's on Facebook.
Oh yeah,
I mean, literally, your grandmother is on Facebook.
Yeah, exactly.
If you send your grandmother a link to an article on Minds and she gets that warning, there's not a chance in hell she follows through.
Yep.
So it kills the adoption.
Now.
Yeah, exactly. It kills the adoption of Minds from Facebook. It keeps you from being able to import Facebook users into Minds natively. You have to work around it. It's the same kind of problem Bitcoin's having, right? And BCH and all the altcoins. They're a pain in the ass to use. And so if you can't get somebody who's motivated enough to figure it out on their own, your implementation is awful. That's why Vinar Money's like Cointext and stuff like that is great, because it makes using it super easy.
Okay, like I got something I wanted to I just thought of, because Twitter side told us about how she just recently got banned from Twitter. So I would say
again?
Yeah. But in the past couple of days, I don't know,
like a week ago.
Reboot?
Yeah,
the reboot's still there.
Not again yet. I'm sure it's coming.
Give it a week.
She'll say something.
I don't know if I have like a secret ring, but I've never been like actually banned on anything. And other people I know, they'll like go through accounts like every other day.
Yeah.
Me.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
no, that's what I wanted to do is
banned 4 times.
Yeah, I actually wanted to. Oh, go ahead.
No, I just said something like that. I've lost track.
Yeah.
But I will say this: the people that like my account, they always know how to find me, because they just look up my old account in the search engine.
That's what I do. Somebody always knows. Somebody always knows where to find you when you come back. I was going to see if anybody else has these examples. Like I've never been actually like outright banned. I've been suspended twice. One of them I talked about earlier is where I called out this guy that was like literally saying like stuff about like being pro child rape, and I called him out and I got banned. I got like a week's suspension, and then my other week's suspension was when I actually tagged Jack and called him an ignorant slut. And then I got a week suspension for that. Amos is here. Awesome. Now it's a party.
I got shadow banned for a few hours.
It's been a party on my end for a while.
So, okay, Eric, have you because you said you don't have like a ton of followers. I don't have much attention you get. Have you experienced no bans? Otter, Michael, Pat, any of you guys? Any suspensions or anything?
No, I got shadow banned for a few hours. Sweet D let me know about it.
Yeah,
the shadow ban.
I haven't been banned. The closest thing I had was when they like kind of like log you off for like a second, and then they say that there's been some kind of problem, and then they'll give you like a menu of like all your comments from like the last like 20 hours and say, did you say all these? It's like, I'm not going to read all of them. So yeah, sure.
Yeah, that's
And
weird.
that actually happened when I made the Hillary Clinton meme.
Oh, okay. Amos, for you, have you had any suspensions, bans, or anything like that on Twitter?
No, I'm such a good little boy.
Well, since you just joined us, I want to get and actually, Pat, I'm not sure if you had to answer this or not. So, the two of you, we were doing this discussion of like today, if for some reason you were forced to or just got fed up with it and left Twitter, what like just from what you currently know about the other available platforms out there, like the up and coming ones, where would you go first? Like Minds, Gab, what was that other one? Somebody said like Mastodon or something.
Yeah, Mastodon.
4chan.
Hell
yeah.
I've honestly never used I've seen 4chan, never used it, but I don't know, probably Gab, because that is the one that tends to emulate the Twitter interface the best.
Okay.
Not because of all the alt-writers on there, if anyone wants to take that out of context.
Nazis. Hardcore Nazis. We already had
If you would like to support me, you can check me out on Patreon.
Hell yeah. Hey, speaking of Patreon, has anybody heard anything about Cody and like whether or not he's actually going to jail? That whole situation is so fucked.
Do you want to give us some background on that?
Well, he got picked up for underage prostitution apparently, and like it's Texas, so 17 is the age of consent, and apparently she was lying about her age, and she's 16, and it's sexual assault on a minor, even if it was consensual. So he's looking at 20 years.
Oh, Cody.
Oh my God.
Wilson,
Yeah,
who founded
that's
Patreon. By the
that's
way,
one where it's
in case you guys like are just fans of Cody because of Defense Distributed, that's not the only thing he's ever done. Patreon was his thing too, and the guy's a fucking hero. And I'm not a real big fan of cults, but like, yeah, I'm hoping he's not going to do 20 years, but that's the like maximum penalty for the thing that he's being accused of.
Oh shit.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. That's the one where it's like, the prostitute supposedly ratted on herself to get this guy in trouble.
So in Texas, if you here's what happened. Here's the story as I know it, and I'm not directly involved in any way, shape, or form. The story is she's in therapy for some reason or another, and she mentions that she had an interaction with Cody because she figured out who she was. She figured out who he was. If you're a therapist and licensed, you are required by law to report that crime because it's sex with a minor. So the therapist reported it, and the girl and her parents didn't deny it, and they've got Cody and the girl on video, both at the hotel that they went to and the coffee shop that they met at, and I believe also at the Whataburger, which is a burger chain here in Texas and like the surrounding states.
Pretty damn good.
It's delicious. Yeah. Fuck your In-N-Out. We have that here too. Whataburger beats the hell out of In-N-Out. Just in case I hadn't pissed everybody off yet. And so apparently they've got him on video, including him driving a vehicle that was registered to Defense Distributed, and he was in Taiwan, and they managed to they didn't extradite him because technically there's no treaty with Taiwan. What happened is when the State Department revoked his passport, Taiwan saw that as a reason to expel him from the country, so he got removed and physically removed with a helicopter, so to speak. And
at least he wasn't thrown from it.
No. He didn't actually get helicoptered. He got flown back to George Bush International in Houston. And so he's out on bail, and I haven't heard anything since he got out on bail. Basically, wow. I did go to the Defense Distributed press conference after that happened. They're headquartered here in Austin, and I went to the press conference. It was mildly interesting, but nothing surprising or fun happened, unfortunately. But yeah, so Cody's looking at 20 years, and It's maximum. So I think the minimum's 2, the maximum's 20. God only knows if he's if they're gonna let him plead out, or hey, like I didn't know I didn't know is not a legitimate defense. Whether she was, so the website that they met on apparently had a hey, you got to be 18 to use this. The terms of service that she lied about her age doesn't matter. It's Texas. She's a minor. That's all that matters. I'm in Texas. I've got I've got a disturbing number of people that I know who are on the sexual offender registry for very similar circumstances, not usually paid, but same basic concept. Mm-hmm. She said she was 18. She wasn't 18. That's enough. Sorry. So, and you're on the registry for life. So even if he does 2 years and
that stuff's messed up,
whatever, it's game over. So
there's no penalty for fraud and age like that.
No.
Sex with a minor is
the only thing that matters. And by the way, every state that borders Texas, the age of consent's 17, and she's 17 and a half. So,
and in some places, it's in the US, it's even 16.
I got that backwards. All the other states are 16. It's 17 in Texas.
It's 16 here in Minnesota.
If it had been anywhere, if it had been Louisiana, Arkansas, Oklahoma, New Mexico, Colorado, they're all 16. She's 16 and a half. Texas is 17. Technically, she's a minor. Game over.
It's nuts. Okay, I don't want to.
And I think that just kind of highlights, trying to think of the right word, the problems with government, where it's if you have sex with this girl 5 feet in this direction, it's all suddenly not a crime.
It becomes very arbitrary, some of these things. Somebody in the chat is asking a question, and I want to see if any of you guys might have heard of this or have any information on it. They're saying that they've heard that YouTube is starting to censor super chats in streams, and that if it is deemed offensive, they give the money to charity. Has anybody heard about this?
Yep.
I saw that earlier today.
So, Amos,
I heard that on V and Argon, I think.
Okay, Amos, you said, you want to give us some background on that? Because I wasn't aware of this.
Well, I wrote the article about it.
Nice.
For Think Liberty, we wrote an article on it. We added on just before publishing it. But basically, the crash was probably not a crash. I don't know anything specifically about computer stuff, like how websites and YouTube works, but it would seem that some algorithms were put in place during the downtime that basically will censor and delete super chat messages. Sorry, not just super chat, but also regular chat, I think too. Regular chat messages, yes, some I think super chat and regular chat are both affected now.
Let me ask if you know the details of this. Is it, hey, the content of the super chat sucks, so we're gonna take your money that I just sent to whoever and send that to charity, or is it, hey, the content of the live stream sucks and we're gonna take all the money?
Well, live streams and such are already fucked over by the apocalypse in general. For content,
but I'm saying, do the algorithms, are they watching the live stream and saying, hey, the content of the live stream is awful, so we're going to take all of the super chat, or is it, hey, the content of the specific super chat was bad? It's specific. It's so. Okay. So if
I write
kill all Jews on a super chat, they're gonna go, hey, we're gonna take that money, we're gonna send it to the JDL.
That's so messed up because for one, if I'm running a live stream and somebody's putting super chat stuff in there like trolling, I can ban them from the chat. Like I can't control what they say. Yeah, and still take their money and then just ban them and be like, well, I'm not gonna let this person. But doesn't it also like taking the right to monitor and your own chat room away from you,
exactly.
That's ridiculous.
It's not your chat room.
It's not your chat. So here's what exactly was happening too. I saw some videos, screen captured videos of people in the chat that would throw out, typical words and slurs and whatever to see what would happen. in real time being deleted, it would say this message is deleted by the Google moderators. Boom, boom, boom. Like it would be up for literally a second and boom, gone.
At some point, I want to start trolling all of this with
regardless of context.
Like, I realize it would cost real world money to do this in a super chat, but it would be funny as hell to start throwing out like shit, I forgot the guy's name all of a sudden. I just had it just now. Mel Brooks. Throw out a bunch of Mel Brooks lines on chat. How many of them get deleted? Or just old movie lines that are taken out of context.
How do they decide what charity they're going to give that money to? And
for all we know, it's going to the Clinton Foundation.
Right? That's what I was going to say. Like, are they even bothering to prove where it's going, or is YouTube just going to be taking it?
It's going to AOC's 2020 run for president before she even spends 2 years in the House.
Right.
It'll unironically go to the ACLU.
That's way better than what I said.
So
that's awesome.
I'll put this in our chat, but I'll also put it in the live stream chat as well. It's just an article that we wrote to briefly talk about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
About the
censorship.
Okay.
Say what you want about like, hey, you can pay some dude in the Philippines like under 10 grand to completely just clone YouTube and build your own thing. The server costs alone are insane. And so it's like, it's their platform and they're spending all the money on all the servers and everything else. The reality is, even if they weren't completely in bed with the government, which they are, we've had this argument already tonight, and even if I thought they were completely private companies, it's in their best interest, regardless of the verbal backlash that they're going to get, to protect their product from things that they think the majority of their users aren't going to like.
Let's not forget that YouTube is also one of the biggest money losers of the Google umbrella, the umbrella. So they're only keeping people on YouTube to keep users under their umbrella, but they're not going.
They need the search data. YouTube's the second biggest search engine on the planet behind Google. Like it's Google and then YouTube, and they own both of them.
They're not going to they're not going to give too much of a shit about how much their biggest loser, their loss leader, how much of a hit their loss leader takes outside of that data. If they using that, like how Facebook is hemorrhaging users, that's when they'll start giving a shit about our opinion.
No, even unless you can convince a majority of the population, listen, hate them for their politics, hate them for banning everybody, hate them for being fascists. Fine. The reality is, you want to fix something, you're not going to fucking Vimeo. It ain't happening.
Yeah.
You're searching YouTube or Google, that's nice. I mean, Michael Malice had a show 2 weeks ago with a guy that's a privacy expert. He did a bunch of research about Google and stuff, and he had some recommendation of some site that uses Google's data without sharing data with Google. And okay, that's interesting to use their algorithms and their backend data, but here's the reality. You stop using Google long enough and their data is going to be shit. So that ain't going to work. I tend to take the tack that privacy is dead. Proceed appropriately. Defend yourself the way you should. Crypto anarchy is a reality. Whether you are hip to it or not, you're responsible for protecting yourself. I think Otter, that I think it was you earlier that was hey, it's the Wild Wild West. It might have been Pat. Yeah, it's the Wild Wild West. You better keep your 6-shooter on your hip at all times because you don't know what you're going to come across, and you better be willing to shoot back. Welcome to the modern world. Crypto anarchy is a reality. You better protect yourself.
Yep.
The assumption that privacy is a right is dead.
This day and age, it seems like. Yeah. I would say too. So we've talked a lot about Twitter, and then we got kind of into YouTube and scratched a little bit on Facebook. So recently there was that whole Facebook just did this kind of huge like sweep of
800 pages.
Yeah, huge. And like
including all of Free Think Media and Cop Block and like Police Report. And,
Free Thought Project.
Free Talk,
now,
Free Thought. Yeah,
I've heard I've heard there was some like casualties on every side, but like, does anybody know like if it was definitely directed more towards a specific or if it was across the board? Like, what are the stats on that?
It was anti-state, anti-cop pages. I mean, that's the reality is it was anti-empire.
They got some leftists too, but yeah.
But they got like the good leftists. They got the hardcore radical. The what's her name that's on Rogan once in a while? The Empire Files. I can't think of her name. Like they got that crowd. The like hardcore anti-empire left. The Noam Chomsky is like hardcore leftists who like you can't talk to about things.
A very like obvious correlation.
We hate the wars. You're killing brown people overseas. Go fuck yourselves. And oh, by the way, the police are the standing army the founders warned us about. Fuck you too.
Did they? I haven't heard that. I don't get this radio show down here, but did they nix the page of who's that radio show in New Hampshire that's always doing that?
LRN.FM. They got all of them. They got Free Talk.
Wait. They got LRN and Free Talk?
Yes, they got.
Holy fuck.
I think LRN got reinstated because I think they're still. I went and looked, but I think Free Talk got like permabanned.
I'm like Anarchy Ball's still on Twitter too, aren't they? They never got to come back, did they? Anarchy Ball?
No,
that's
Anarchy
insane.
Ball's done.
How the hell can they justify doing Free Talk, being against Free Talk? What the fuck?
Well, I don't think they can morally justify it, but they're just it's just like, oh, they said something bad, and they don't have to really give an example because everybody's going to use their platform anyway.
Say what you will about the Free Staters and some of the fucked up shit that's gone down in New Hampshire. Free Talk's legit, man. They're anarchists. Like they might claim libertarianism, but
exactly. I mean, if I wouldn't agree with it, but I could see where they would say something for, like I said, I don't agree with it, but Cop Block, shiny badge. Okay, somebody's going to piss off some boomers, and eventually they're going to try to cater to an audience more on one side than other. But Free Talk, all oh my God, sorry, I can't even. I can't come up with I cannot articulate a good reason for that anyone could say freedom sucks. I hate these people. Let's get rid of them. What?
Yeah,
they're small enough to get away with without risking getting sued. I mean that's the reality.
Fucking global. Sorry, I'm not yelling at you. But
I know, but there's still they don't have enough money to be a real threat. And they're a legitimate threat.
What do you guys think? Like,
you continue to allow them to have a voice, and they're a legitimate threat, but they don't have enough money to sue you into oblivion or even to sue you and win. So fuck them.
Yeah, I was gonna say you do notice it's typically like a lot of smaller groups that are trying to gain traction and stuff like that. Some people are small, like under the radar, but like once you once you hit a certain like where you can't completely fly under the radar and you're making some waves, that's when you start to become a target before you get too big. Now, I mean, we've seen a lot of like these kind of purges going on. Like, what do you think, I would say like predictions for the future, do you think there's going to be another, they're going to do more? Is there, but like, I would say like which platform do you think might start like cracking down, and how might they start cracking down even more? Like, what do you think's like kind of the next step from now besides just purging pages? Any thoughts from anyone?
If nobody else is
they're
going
gonna
to
start coming into
Pat,
our homes and taking away all our guns and everything. Facebook, Twitter.
Facebook's going to take our guns.
No, not government. It was a sham the whole time. It was always Facebook and Twitter.
Right. Well, I mean, let's be honest, right? Like Google is Skynet. Like, I had a conversation with somebody today on Twitter. Like, hey, nobody should be talking about gun ownership. Me in Resilient Ways, which I think is Jim, and So, I think he runs the Resilient Ways and his own like planetary gym. I think those are both gym. Anyway, like we had a conversation with somebody today. Like nobody should be talking about guns. It's like, dude, if you didn't buy it cash, like person to person, face to face, straight cash, they know you have it. Like, and oh, by the way, you're being profiled under like 300 other indicators. They know you've got stuff. Now, do they know you have specific things? Maybe not. Especially if you didn't fill out a 4473, they don't know the specific things you have, but they know you have things. Like I'm on the list.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, if you have a Midway USA account, a Brownells account, and an SG Ammo, Target Sports, I could go on and on. If you have a handle on AR15.com, or hey, I have one. Had one since actually, I was going to say the great defense Cody Wilson thread on there. But if you have accounts on any of these things, if you have bought anything from Surefire or Streamlight on Amazon, you're on a goddamn list. You know, it doesn't. You don't need to have bought Glock mags on Brownells or
the 80% lower that I bought 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, you don't need to be going to your local sporting goods store or Fleet Farm or what have you, and buying a jug of Varget reloading powder to get on a list. There's 100 different ways, and some really innocuous shit, including camping gear, get you on a gun owner's list, I'm sure, somewhere in some database, because there's so much cross. If you don't think that there's databases that are ran on those kinds of Venn diagrams,
of course.
Not just corporate kind of lists, because I've gotten advertisements and emails from people that I haven't done business with. If you don't think that the government's tapped into that shit, good luck, boomer.
Yeah. Like I said, the age of the assumption that privacy is a right is over. It's done. Like, have a nice day. Your data is on somebody else's server. You don't own it. So even if you're not on the government list, you're on that business's list. Straight up, like somebody else owns that data. They own all your information, including your debit and credit cards and your personal profiles and your email address. Somebody else owns all of that. So proceed appropriately. Oh, and by the way, I'm prior service. They've got my fucking footprints. So I'm on the list. Like, I'm all the way on the list. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. Like the whole thing burns and it doesn't like burn overnight. They're coming for me. There's no way they don't.
For the record, for any government agent, otters are terrible at driving boats, and I always take my gun with me on all my boating trips.
I wasn't driving. My guns were on the boat, but I was not driving. It wasn't my fault.
I lost them all in a tragic boating accident each and every damn time, except for my 38 and my 22.
I mean, the reality is, I'm in Texas. Private still super legal. I sold everything. Like, it's all gone. I own nothing. Hey, FBI agent that's assigned to me, just so you know, I sold everything already. I'm looking right into the camera directly. Pay attention. I sold all of them.
Wait. Now hold up a sign to the NSA agent, like that cartoon.
Nah, fuck the NSA agents. But they're hiding in a bunker in San Antonio. They're like 90 miles south of me. Like, they can go fuck themselves. They have no policing power. I'm not worried about the NSA agents. They give all their data to the FBI and the CIA and the DEA and the ATF. Like, yeah. Them collecting the data, who cares? They're collecting the data, so is Facebook. I don't give a crap who collects it. It's going to the people with the policing power, the guys with the guns that are going to come knock on your door. Oh, by the way, you fucking boomers with the blue lines, fuck your Blue Lives Matter. Fuck your, Mance Raider put a thing out today with, it's that, push the two buttons and you're sweating and you got to make a decision meme. And it was like the come and take it with the M16 and the Blue Lives Matter on the. I'm like, the amount of times I've seen those two stickers on the same fucking truck in Texas drives me bananas. The people with the guns are coming to get you. They're a bunch of bootlicking, unthoughtful Nazis. Like, they are the brown shirts. You have no idea what's coming. If you think the police are your friends, you're fucking out of your mind. Fucking boomers.
All right.
Just for emphasis.
Hide your tweets, hide your guns.
What I wanted to do is I want to wrap up the stream in about 20 minutes. So what I think a good place to kind of move on to next would be, we've established a lot of the problem with, the censorship. It any place, like these really large social media platforms like YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, the censorship is becoming more and more blatant, and like they're becoming more and more fearless with how they do it. Like they just don't care.
What do they
They're
have
not
to
even
fear?
trying to hide it. Yeah,
there's nothing to fear.
Yeah,
there's
this
no
point,
backlash for this.
Everybody's going to keep coming back.
Yeah, of course.
So us, like, like dealing with this kind of stuff, us like wanting to be able to go to these places to at least have these debates and have these discussions, like what are things that we can do, to try to survive this kind of purge?
Go look at my Twitter account. My banner on my Twitter account says it all. Anarcho-coalitionism. Have hard copies of the people you know and trust so that when you get your account back up, you can go talk to those people and say, hey, it's me. I'm back. Twitter side knows all about this. She's done it. She's done it 5 times now, or 4 times, or whatever the fucking number is at this point. And oh, by the way, coalitionism. Meet people in your local area. Get hard, like find some people that you actually like. And like that, okay, so that image.
This is what Eric's talking about
right
here.
So that image, credit to Jeremiah, Insanity is free. Credit to Jeremiah where it belongs. That's his image. That's his idea. I totally support it. I'm like full on black flag, anarchist, no hyphens. This is the only hyphen I will begin to entertain. Like, fuck you. I'm going to do me. I'm going to protect mine. But if you need help, say something. And if I can help you, I will. So here's the deal. Build networks outside of social media. They're coming for you. They're going to get you. I don't want to be Alex Jones, but fucking Alex Jones was right. They came for him. They're coming for you. Fucking the frogs are gay. Okay? Now that I've done the full Alex Jones thing, yeah, that's right. The frogs are gay. He was right about that. The craziest part about the frogs are gay thing is he was right. The frogs are gay. Now, the whole like crisis actors in Connecticut thing, don't even get me started. But build networks offline. Skip at the Free Rifleman and at Zero Gov, Bill Buppert or whatever, however you pronounce his last name. Bill and Skip are great about this stuff. Like, know your neighbors. My family's like 45 minutes south of me. My parents are both anarchists. Like, build some networks, get to know some people. I highly recommend the Survival Podcast as a good place to start. Making sure you're ready.
Absolutely, yes.
Thank you.
Okay, he's a great guy.
So Otter, if you listen to the Survival Podcast, my parents are Michael and Sue Priest on the Expert Council. Those are my parents. So,
were there who?
Michael and Sue Priest, the homeschooling couple on the Expert Council. Those are my parents.
It has been a while, but I occasionally.
Yeah. My parents are friends with Jack. Jack is great. Survival Podcast is a great place to start. Go follow at the Free Rifleman. Go follow at Zero Gov. Like, those guys are also fantastic on Twitter. Like, do things offline. Know people. It's the only way you're going to survive. Like, hardcore collapsitarian, it's coming at some point. Things are going to go completely fucking sideways. And it doesn't mean the entire world is going to go up in smoke necessarily, but your life might come to an end if you're not connected somewhere. So have a list. Have a hard copy list of like, hey, here's the 15 people I really like on Twitter. Make sure they know who you actually are, even if you want to stay kind of like, a Twitter side and Otter and like, okay, you want to be anonymous, be anonymous. You want to be pseudonymous like Jen the Libertarian and Mance, fine. Do what you got to do. Like I said, privacy's dead. Protect yourself appropriately. Meanwhile, find some people you trust. Make sure they know who you are so that you can verify like, yeah, so-and-so is so-and-so. Like, Twitter side gets booted off of Twitter. And the next day, Sweet D's like, hey, Twitter side's back. This is her new handle. Everybody go back and follow her. Like, make sure you've got that stuff in place, because otherwise there's no consequences to them eliminating everybody. You don't own that shit. You're digital sharecropping. You're on their platform. You're using their servers. They own you. If all you're doing is you're on Twitter and you're on Facebook and you're on YouTube, Google, Facebook, and Twitter own your ass. They own your digital presence. They own your life. They have all your passwords to everything. If you're logging in with Facebook and you're logging in with Google, they own all of it. So they can shut you off tomorrow. The only way to fix that is to build your life the other way. Which, yeah, it's a pain in the ass. I'm aware.
Is
Meanwhile,
that
Go
guy
ahead.
that's the Indian guy that's running for against Elizabeth Warren in Massachusetts had a really interesting idea about, and forgive me for deferring to a government service, but he had an interesting idea about the postal service using its networks as to make everyone's own social network that they own themselves and they own the content of.
So Curtis Yarvin, otherwise known as Mensch Small Bug, who kind of founded like the whole concept of the cathedral, and the red pill meme is his thing. And oh, by the way, NPC is his also. So he's apparently building a platform where you hold your stuff on your server, and it's like an RSS feed, basically. You own your server and you control what your server looks like, but everybody is interacting individually. I'm not entirely sure how that's supposed to work. It sounds like a pain in the ass because I'm not particularly technically like inclined, but if he can actually make it work, and I know he's focusing on like user interface and it being accessible to people, if that can actually work, that solves the problem. Like, you own your info and you're choosing which info to share with whom and when. Solves the problem, but it doesn't exist yet. So keep an eye out.
On a personal note, with the building networks and all that, there's a group on Facebook that is Ozark Voluntarists, and they only do stuff on Facebook, and it's really frustrating because I've had a normie account on there for years, and I recently stopped doing anything on it, and I really would like to get to interact with some of these people outside of that. So, I'm not exactly sure what the next step is beyond that, but it's it is frustrating how there's only certain for those groups that you would think would have multiple platforms and have a shotgun approach. That's their niche. It's like, really? Come on.
Real quick, you have YouTube, right? A YouTube channel?
I'm sorry,
Eric?
Oh
no, Eric.
I have an account. I don't have a channel.
Okay, somebody's asking if you have a YouTube, because I think they want to hear more of your ideas.
Tell you what, I'm all set up to do streams now.
Mm-hmm.
Just hit me up on Twitter. Ask me some questions. If I get 5 or 6, I'll do some videos.
Okay. Make sure. Do you want to let them know your Twitter handle for those?
Yeah, my Twitter handle is ELAPRISE. First initial, last name, not real complicated, because you're watching the stream. So by the way, that's me basically everywhere. Find me. I'm not pseudonymous. I don't come up with great. I'm not very clever as far as names are concerned. Oh, by the way, once again, for everybody who wasn't paying attention, FBI agents and NSA agents and all government agents watching this shit, I don't give a fuck. I'm already on your lists. So now that that's clear, ask me some questions. If I get enough questions, I will gladly make some videos. And
if you can't, for some reason, you can't find them on Twitter, if you're watching the stream, you probably know me, Sarcasm_Liberty. I'll point you in his direction. If you guys got questions for Eric. And I'm hoping Eric, we'll be able to get Eric on some future streams too.
I'll be back on Monday.
Yeah. So he's going to be on our taxation stream on Monday. So what I'm going to do is, we have about 10 more minutes to wrap it up. So, I'm going to, if anybody has just a minute of final thoughts they kind of want to throw out for the, the overall censorship theme before we wrap it up. Amos, I'll start with you. If you got anything you want to, final words?
Nothing really.
Okay. I just want to see if anybody's just anybody at all. If you got some final words, just go. Feel free to jump in real quick.
Say what you want. You're going to get suspended anyway.
That's a great point.
Association.
Yeah.
Twitter side, you've got to. You see, you're only allowed to pick 2 or 3, 2 of 3 hot button topics. You've got to choose to drop either the pineapple, the pedophiles, or the Beyonce. I would say stick with the pedophile, pineapple, on pizza as your main issue.
No, I like feminists. I think I'll stick with that.
See, you're just gonna, if you just go with all 3, you're just gonna get the action done.
I'll be back.
She always comes back. That's why we love her. She always comes back. She never stays away.
It's an addiction at this point.
I have a problem.
She's like Hillary Clinton, but good.
Oh my God, that's the worst thing you could have said. Who said that?
Good.
Is that Pat?
No. Never insult you.
I think it wasn't Michael or one of you said it.
Yeah.
I'm blocking whoever it was.
I'll blame Pat though.
Okay. Well, that was a really good stream. Thanks so much. I did not expect to have so many people join, but I'm glad everybody was able to. It was a lot of fun. A lot of regulars here on Twitter side. Thanks for coming back on the stream. Eric, welcome to the streams. And then Pat, it's nice to see you back on. And then, Otter, Amos and Michael, you guys are regulars. I always love when you guys are able to come on. So I'm going to real quick plug the stream again for Monday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is where we're going to be doing our taxation stream. I'm going to be discussing the results of those 2 polls I have out on Twitter right now. So make sure you're subbed to the YouTube channel here and have your notifications on. You'll probably be seeing, I know for sure Eric's already said he's going to come back, and I'm sure you'll see some of these guys back on that stream too. So yeah, and then Sarcasm_Liberty on Twitter. I'm going to be posting this video, the link to this video, as well as everybody here who was on all of their Twitter handles in that tweet. So if you're curious as where you can find these people, just look for that tweet. So again, thank you so much to my panel, and good night, everyone.
Thanks. Night.
Good night.
Good night.